Hello, everybody. My name is Bear, and this is Friendly Neighborhoods Gamer Solo Gaming Friday. We're going to start today. Let's cut over to scene A. Auto. We're going to be doing Earthborne Rangers. This is a post-apocalyptic game where humans came together and they were like, you know what? The Earth is screwed and we've done it. So we're going to get into these large hive cities. We're going to bind together as a people and make it so that, oh, you're going to fix my camera for me. You're amazing. That's my co-host normally, Blue, over there. He's not here normally on Solo Fridays because this is our first one. So at this, technically, you've been here the entire time because both times I've tried it, you've been here. But he works on Fridays, but he can work from home. Anyways, humans got into these like mega cities underground, let the Earth heal itself. They used certain machines to do that. And then when it was back to normal, they were like, we're coming back out and we're going to improve moving forward. We're going to work with nature. We're going to be part of nature instead of against nature. That makes sense. So we, as players, we being me, because I'm playing solo, make a ranger and you move around the area. And this area is rather large. They call it the valley. Here's the map for it. Someone stole my thing, so I can't zoom in on it. This is the entirety of the map of the game. That doesn't help a lot. But it's pretty big. There are achievements for the game. I saw that there was an achievement for getting from one side of the valley to the other in a single day. Like, you'd really have to bust your butt to do that. So it's interesting. I do know that at the beginning, in the prologue, which I'm going to start to play, we're starting here. Let's zoom in on that. Ancestors Grove. I don't know how to make that more focused. Anyways, you're going to start here, and then you'll move to the Boulder Field, and then from Boulder Field, you'll move up to Lone Tree Station. So, spoiler alert, you're about to see that firsthand. You'll see me build a Rangers deck, which will be essentially my character going through the game. And then as we progress throughout the entire valley, I'll get to add and remove cards. So, without further ado, let us start the prologue. I'm going to start throwing things that I don't need out of my way. We're going to move this over here. I know Blue loves my setup because it's got so many things that don't belong on the table. And I should put my cell phone on here with all my private data and stuff. Blue just made the thumbs up motion. He is agreeing with that. Hey, you have a microphone. You can talk anytime you want. Taking off my glasses so I can read. And we're going to flip to a different view. So you can see my face. Because we're going to be doing more of me reading at this point than looking at things. So you get to see. Welcome to the prologue to the Lore of the Valley campaign for Earthborne Rangers. Playing this prologue is optional, but if you're new to the game, we recommend that you do it. The prologue is not a substitute for the rulebook. While it touches on the rules, someone in your group will need to have read the rulebook and be willing to teach the game before you dive in. If that person is you, I have read the rules. It was a couple months ago, but we'll figure it out as we go. I'm going to skip a lot of this, get down to the part where it actually is the stuff. So here's the first part. Imagine a low burning fire in a pre-dawn light. Imagine you're wrapped in a warm cloak, breathing cool mountain air. You smell the smoke from the fire and the rich scent of pine. Last night you swore your oaths to the ancestors, to the elders, and to the spirits of the valley. The sun begins to rise on your first day as a ranger, a caretaker of the land, a friend to its people. You watch as Elder Thrush retrieves her condenser kettle from a low branch, checks the water level, then places it onto the fire. As the water rises to boil, Calypsa, the ranger who has mentored you for the past 9 months, sets about crushing dried marrow leaf for tea in a plain carbon-forged cups. Once it's ready, she hands you a cup. Steam pours off of it. It smells of the forest. Calypsa raises her cup. To your true self, she drinks and you follow suit. The tea invigorates you, warmth spreading throughout your body. It feels amazing. Your eyes are drawn to the flame. As you watch your eyes unfocus, you hear the voices of your ancestors. This chick just got me high. You can feel them with you. You can feel their support and their love. You hear them speak, and they remind you of your best qualities, the person you truly are. Who are you? You'll begin by choosing aspect cards. Going clockwise, well, it's just me. So starting with, so we're going to gather the aspect cards. And essentially these are your base stats. Here's my aspect cards. So in a multi-person game, you would have to make a decision about this. I believe it had told me something about solo play. And I know Blue is a fan of doing your waving at it.
We can't see your cards.
I'm aware. I'm not showing cards. I'm still talking. But I also couldn't hear you. So speak up. So in the base game, they do talk about, in the rule book, they do talk about it. I don't know where it's at. I'm going to struggle probably. That's, as most of my friends and family know, if there's a hard way, that's just the way that I naturally am drawn towards it. So I'm going to struggle. But as a solo player, not playing multiple characters, as has been suggested by my good friend Blue, I don't like doing that. If I'm one person playing a game, I'm one person playing the game. It has suggested a more rounded character. I'm going to switch to a view with my cards here. So there's 4 basic stats in the game. Awareness, spirit, fitness, and focus. And you essentially are choosing one that you're exceptionally good at, one that you're really bad at, and the other 2 you're mediocre, which is, a tried and true. You can't be good at everything. You're going to be bad at something, and you're going to be all right at the rest. As a solo person, I feel like I need to be decent at awareness. I don't think the spirit aspect is the way to go for me. Let's see what it says here, because it does suggest if you're doing a solo play that you should have something. It says, start by gathering the aspect card set. There are 12 aspect cards in the core set. Each has 4 numbers on it, ranging from 3 to 1. It says, think about what types of things you'd like your ranger to be able to do well. Your aspects, especially your high and low aspects, have a significant impact on how your ranger interacts with the game world. If you'd like to be able to hike swiftly through the valley, or if you'd like to be able to defend yourself against dangerous predators with a hand weapon, you should choose fitness. If you'd like to be able to easily converse and get along with the people of the valley, or if you want to form deep connections with the natural world, you should choose spirit. If you'd like to be able to adeptly avoid the valley's many dangers and easily explore the environment, you should choose awareness. Lastly, if you'd like to be able to expertly solve multitude of problems and handle situations which require either great concentration or higher insight, or both, you should choose focus as your high aspect. Choose a player to be the lead ranger. Well, I'm the lead ranger. I thought there was a thing here that told me if you're doing solo play, you probably should do this one. You'll notice. So, Blue, do you have any opinion on anything? He says, nope, get bent. So, I think that awareness is going to be my best. And then I'm kind of curious about what I should make my worst. I'm picturing my person kind of being like a curmudgeon-y old bastard, similar to myself. So I'm going to make spirit my dump stat. So I'm looking for a 3 in awareness and 1 in spirit. There we go. Boom. Na-na-na-na. All right, so we've done that. Let's put this back in the box. You'll notice that each of the cards has 1 or more icons. So it says, find the personality cards, set aside, and separate them by aspects: awareness, fitness, focus, and spirit. There should be a total of 8 cards for each aspect, 2 copies of each of the 4 unique cards. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll start with the awareness cards. So we have insightful, we have vigilant, we have perceptive, and we have thorough. It says, so essentially I'm choosing one for me, one couple, one pair. So thorough, and they have like keywords on them. I'm looking for the one that requires the highest awareness because this is my best stat. So thorough has the highest requirement on the side of a 2. It gives me 2 symbols on the side there. The prologue hasn't gone over what the symbols are. From my previous play, I remember that you want a well-rounded deck, especially as a solo player, because you will be using these to pass tests. So I'll read the flavor text. It says, as you put your mind to your task, your every moment carries meaning, and each step is made with care and intention. No detail escapes your notice. You've accounted for every outcome and planned contingencies should you fail, or should you fall short of your visualized results. So I'm going to be thorough. I'm Batman. So that is my awareness personality trait. Now we have passionate, balanced, determined, and bold. Now, if you remember, I have a 2, so I'm drawn to try and get all the ones that have a minimum, like a maximum requirement. So Bold is the one that has that. It gives me 2 symbols as well, which are not the same 2 symbols as these. So that's a solid choice. The other ones have actual abilities and a symbol, whereas the 2 cost does not. You know what? We're going to be bold, because I think it's bold of me to go alone in this dangerous world. I'm not even going to look at the other attributes. Somebody at home is like, you fool. Meticulous, versatile, inventive, and astute. I'm going to continue to follow suit and not even read them. And I'm going to take the astute because it requires 2 focus. I have 2 focused. And it gives me 2 of those symbols. I'm verifying that these are all different symbols. So by this method, I will be versatile and have a bunch of different symbols in my deck. Unfortunately, the last one is the stat based off of spirit. And I have a 1 in that, so I cannot follow suit as I've done with the previous ones. So I'm looking at these. I've not read them. We have persuasive. We have thoughtful, engaging, and then I don't even meet the requirements for compassionate. My character cannot be compassionate. Imagine it's because I like to kick geese or something. So I'm looking at these other 2 without reading much. I see the symbology. I'm lacking hearts for my deck, and I know for those types of tests, I don't have a way to do those tests yet. So I'm drawn towards that just to have a well-rounded deck. Let's see what the actual card ability says, because the other ones don't have an ability. It just has 2 symbols. This one says the number of hearts on this attribute is equal to the number of spirit in your energy pool. So these numbers are actually pools of energy. So that would not be great because I only have a spirit of 1. But I don't have any hearts. So if I don't take hearts, I'm going to need to supplement that somewhere else. Thoughtful says you may commit this attribute to any ranger's test. And then persuasive is after you succeeded a test in which you committed this attribute, you may suffer a fatigue to add it back to your hand. I remember fatigue seems like a mechanic that this game works off of fatigue. You need fatigue to draw cards. It's a natural part of the game. But a lot of gamers are like, I don't want to take any fatigue. I don't want to take essentially some type of damage. And you have to kind of fight that urge in this game. Because it is a solo playthrough, I'm gonna have to try and figure out a way to get rid of my own fatigue. I won't have a dedicated healer or someone of that nature. So while I'm hesitant about the fatigue, I'll have to figure out ways to get rid of it. So I'm currently torn because I don't like the hearts on this one because it's based off the pool and I only have 1. So it comes down to persuasive and thoughtful. And let's look at, I'm leaning toward persuasive because while it deals a point of fatigue, I think that is part of the game and the mechanics. So I've just talked myself in. I've just been persuasive with myself and talked myself into it. Hey, all right. So those are my cards. Let's not put the glasses back on. Before. It says each player shuffles their personality cards and places them face down in front of them beside their aspect card. For now, this is the Ranger deck. Then each player draws 6 cards. This is your starting hand. So here's my deck. It's very nice. It's got 8 cards and I'm drawing 6 of them. If I remember correctly, the prologue is essentially you just play through a hand or 2. And then you move on to the next part. Whether you pass or fail, you just keep moving forward. So I'm going to deal these out real quick so that I can shuffle them. Alright, so there's my deck. There's that. I just dropped something on the floor. Pick it up. And I'm going to try to keep my play area nice and neat. So I'm going to put these cards back in here so that I'm not dealing with extra shit on the table. Alright, so I've got my play deck. What next, oh mighty book? Before you build the rest of your deck, we'll go through a round of play using only your Ranger's personality cards. Place a number of energy tokens equal to your Ranger's aspect values onto your aspect card. Just so that I'm using the right tokens. I know that Blue is going to be very excited for this portion of it because I have these nice Ziploc bags that are holding my tokens. Yeah, look at that. I've got one yellow, I've got two red, I've got two blue, a nice ASMR wrinkling of the plastic, and this table is firmly up against my body. So there we go. I have all my tokens on there. I'll keep these handy in case I need them again. Thanks, little plastic bags. You're the best way to store things. No response from Blue. All right. Find the Ancient Grove, Boulder Field, and Lone Tree Station cards in the location card set. These are the only locations available to you during the prologue. Place the Ancestors' Grove in your play area so that it is easily accessible to all players. Place Boulder Field and Lone Tree off to the side for now. So we'll do that. There's Lone Tree Station and all the cards that are associated with that. It's almost like I should have done all this before I got it on camera. I'm just going to grab all of these and boom, there's that. Branch, spire, these are, I think these are, yeah. Ancestors Grove, boom. Boulder Field, boom. All right. Got those done. It says place Ancestors Grove in play area so that it's easily accessible. And then we're going to put Boulder Field and Lone Tree Station off to the side for now. Then we need to find the Woods Path card set. And we're going to shuffle these cards and place them face down beside the Ancestors Grove card location. So this game has a very interesting mechanic in that as you move about the map, you have different path cards which will bring up various types of settings. So like right now we're using the woods. And there's certain things that only happen in certain areas. And as you progress around through different areas, you will encounter different animals. So it kind of makes, like it's a simple I wish you'd just talk on your microphone. You can move a laptop out of the way. I'm fine with the way it looks. I know it doesn't. It doesn't. You don't like the way it looks, but it is what it is. I'm fine. But thank you for your input. So I'm going to shuffle those and place them face down beside the Ancestors Grove location. Each time you travel to a location, you'll build a new path deck using cards from multiple sets. And then I need to find the perfect day for the weather. As the game progresses, and every time you run out of cards, that ends the day. Or if you get injured and you can no longer finish the day, weather changes day per day. Beginning in the game, you usually start off with like a perfect day, and it gets a little cloudy or sunny or something. But then as the game progresses, the weather gets worse. You have various different weather conditions that do different things. So for the prologue, of course, they're going to make you have a perfect day, which is great. So weather, I'm going to take one of these out so that the common tests and round structure, because having cheat sheets is always nice. And then we're going to start with a perfect day. Boom. I'll put that right there on my laptop that I'm not moving. Let's shuffle these real quick. Shuffled. We'll cut it once just to show that I care. Ancestors Grove is my location. That's off to the side. Boom, bada boom, bing, bada bow. All right, so I'm going to move these in front of me so that I know that they're mine. Let's get our situation. Let's look at the screen here to see how you guys see it, because from where I am, it looks great. But I want to make sure you guys can see it as well. So we've got the perfect day, we've got the location, and then we've got the path deck. What is next, O Book of Things? Each player takes a common test card and places it in front of them next to their aspect card. Follow the arrival setup instructions on the back of Ancestors Grove. What does the Ancestors Grove say? It says, follow the arrival setup instructions on the back of Ancestors Grove. The arrival setup says, search the path deck for the next card with a presence of 3 and discard it. It's a 1. It's a 1. That's a 2. Hold on. That's a 3. I apologize. I was looking at the wrong thing. Presence of 3 and discard it. Boom. First card. It says, search the path deck for the next prey and put it into play. That's a doe. That's a prowling wolfhound. That is a prey. I'll put this on the bottom. And there is no next ranger, so we'll just leave that out. And when this says, so there are 3 areas in play. We're going to put that there because it's not dealing with me just yet. All right. We're continuing. We're going to keep moving. Follow the arrival setup. We did that. Your eyes refocus and Calypsa smiles warmly. It's time, she says, as of this morning, I am no longer your mentor. Like you, I am a ranger. She speaks briefly with Elder Thrush, douses the fire, then turns to you. We will travel from here to Boulder Field. I'll stay back and follow your lead. Your goal this round is to travel from Ancestors Grove to Boulder Field. If you're unable to do so, that's all right. The prologue will continue. On the common test card, you'll find the Traverse test. During this round, you can use this test to place the tokens on the Ancestors Grove location card. Once there's enough of those tokens on the card, you'll be able to travel to it. So if you look at the card here, it has a difficulty of 4, so I'll need to put 4 of those on there to move. And it's 4 per ranger. There's 1 ranger, so just 4. That is a fitness test. All right. So it says to play 1 round, which would be go through all your cards. So we're drawing 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Because I'm playing by myself, I will show everybody my cards. All right. So let's go through the round structure. So each ranger draws 1 path card. So because I drew it, so they have little arrows on them to show where they are. So the setup, this comes and it's affecting me. There's far away, there's close up, and then there's a place where if there were multiple players, you'd be able to everybody would be able to affect it. Unfortunately, it's just me. So I drew my card. Ranger turn. Rangers take turns until they have all rested. Each ranger does 1 of the following. So I can play a card, perform a test, or rest. I want to perform tests. So the mechanic of this is, if I want to affect here, I have to handle these situations first. And if I don't, then I take fatigue. And fatigue essentially means you have to discard a card and you have like a fatigue pile. And then when you heal fatigue, you gain those cards back into your hand. I'm sorry. Every card that you don't handle goes off your deck into your fatigue pile. So because we're playing it so early in the game, I kind of got a shitty first draw because I drew a wolf, which was the requirements, and then I drew a buck. So I kind of got to deal with those before I can move. And for the sake of the prologue, you're trying to move. So here we go. If I interact with this, I would immediately put 2 over there. And I think that's what it wants me to do. So I'm going to try to do a common test, which is a fitness test. Requires 2 compasses. It says your fitness. So my fitness is a 2. Well, sorry. I'm going to commit a fitness to it. And then I need to leave this location, I need 4. So there's 1. That's 2, 3. That's 4, 5. Now, what we are missing, and I'll need to grab it real quick, is the weather deck, or is the deck that allows me to do things. I am missing it. That's the quest deck. Where is it at? Locations. Bear with me, folks. I'm sorry. Missions. Man, I am not seeing what I'm looking for. Path cards general. No, that is definitely not what I'm looking for. That's a giant crab. Locations. I have a feeling that I put things in the wrong pile. So let's take a quick gander, because it should be in the weather section, but it's not there. All right. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Challenge deck. So if I remember correctly, we're just using... you know what? We're going to shuffle these real quick, and we're going to jump right in, because we need to get this ball rolling. Let's get to this prologue. All right. I have now put the challenge deck on the table. So I've currently committed 5. I need 4. I'm going to flip over the challenge deck. Oh no. So it has a red symbol. So you activate all red symbols that are happening. Ultimately, I have +1 to fitness. So I will have 6 successes. I needed 4. That's great. But what happens here? It says, if you have 3 or more fatigue, exhaust this being, and it attacks me, essentially. I don't have 3 or more fatigue, so I'm fine. If there's an active strike doe, the buck charges. So it'd get protective of the female doe. There's not a doe out there, so it's fine. So neither of these two react. I do take 2 fatigue because I am interacting with this card, and there are 2 things between me and there. So I take 2 of these cards, and I essentially would put them in another pile in a different direction, which I will establish is that way. I think technically I would run out, but I think it's when you go to draw your next card. Let's look. So let's not look. I put 6 of those on there. That's my action. I'm not going to do any. I'm going to rest, which ends my turn. So that moves on to the next phase, which is travel. If the location has tokens on it equal to or exceeding the threshold, which it does. I have 6. It needed 4. Then we can travel, which is one of the things we needed for the introduction. So it says, read the entry corresponding to which condition was met. It says there are 2 conditions for the end of the game, for the end of this part of the thing. It says a ranger ran out of cards in the ranger deck. It says during normal play, drawing a card or suffering fatigue when no cards remaining in your ranger deck ends the day. I did take fatigue, but I didn't go into negative. Instead, shuffle your discard pile and fatigue stack into your ranger deck. Continue playing with the next ranger turn. You've nearly finished your first round. All rangers are rested. If you're able to travel to Boulder Field now, do so. So I am. So everybody rested. I didn't do negative. So yeah, I'm able to move on to Boulder Field. So it says, as you walk beneath the shade of a long-limbed oak, you think back to your youth, living and playing in the villages and wild spaces of the valley. A light breeze cools your skin, and it conjures a memory of your apprenticeship. You had finished your first day's work, sweat cooling on your skin, overlooking the silver fin, its water sparkling with colors of sunset. You stood at the moment of promise. Now, as a newly sworn ranger, you stand at another buoyed by the lessons learned in your youth. Now that you've had a sense for how to interact with the game, it's time to choose your background. Your background represents the formative years of your ranger's life, where they grew up, their occupation, and how they spent their time before they took on greater responsibilities in the valley. Find each of the 4 backgrounds. So there's artisan, forager, shepherd, and traveler. Each background set contains 18 cards, 2 copies of each of 9 unique cards. Place these sets in the center of the play area so that all players can see them. And it does remind you that, as you're choosing cards, be sure to check the aspect value. Some cards require you to have at least 2 in an aspect. Blah, blah, blah. All right. So essentially, we have to make a decision between artisan, forager, shepherd, and traveler. So, if I remember correctly, a bit metagaming. So we're moving on. I'm going to move this stuff over there. I'm going to move this over here. These go into my discard, which would be here. But just a bit of metagaming here because, again, I want to succeed. Wow, that's a lot of those symbols. I've got triangles. I've got compasses. The highest number of symbols that I currently have are these like swirly ones. I have no hearts. So, making a character, I probably want to be cognizant that I need hearts. I do not need any more of these like swirly things. All right, so hearts is our top priority. Swirly things, not so much. Let's look at these. Background, we got traveler, shepherd, forager, and artisan. Artisan, sorry. I like the idea of being let's look at the traveler first and see what pops out of that. There's eagle eye. I mean, so all of these are going to have an abundance of cards for each one of the 4 aspects. Essentially, two of each, except for this one has 2 extra blue ones, which are the focus. So now I'm curious if each one has like one that they're better at. Like this one has an extra flip that up. So the shepherd has 2 green, 2 red, 2 blue, and 3 yellow. So I'm going to look at the one that fits the best that I'm already good at and double down on it. Which I got an idea that it's probably going to be Forager, because that's, yeah. So let's look at Forager. That's the one I should probably be looking at. So I'm going to pick this one back up. Put it back in the Traveler section. And we'll look at Forager. So we've got Green Thumb, Local Fair. I have to make more room here. Oh, the sun came out. That made a lot more light in here. And Puffer Crawler Spores. They're all of the awareness-based cards. I do like Green Thumb automatically because it's got hearts, and I need hearts. We got Familiar Ground and Carbon Forged Trowel. Secret Garden for focus and Loose Leaf Tea Kit. And then for our dump stat of spirit, we've got Nature's Abundance and Static Sifter. So there's a lot of things here, card iconography that, such as, well, not iconography, but there's keywords such as like the Carbon Forged Trowel. It's a piece of gear, so it's a tool, it's a weapon. Whereas Familiar Ground, as 2 examples, that's a movement and experience. Some things like gear you'd be equipping and be able to use a certain number of times, and then whereas other ones would be like a one-time thing. Man, so I just want to double check myself before I wreck myself. There you go. I don't know why I closed that, because I am a fool of a toke. So let's see. So it says, now that I've chosen my background, look through the cards in your set and determine which cards you'd like to include in your deck. You'll choose a total of 5 unique cards. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and I get to choose 5. I'll take both copies of the card. So looking at the iconography, not looking at anything else, these are the only ones that have hearts. The ability says, search the path, Green Thumb. It's an attachment skill expert. It only requires 1 awareness, so that I have 3 awareness. It's the best thing I have. So it says, search the path deck and discard a flora and put it into play with this skill attached. And then it says, increase the flora's, I don't want to call it damage, but it's the damage stat by 2. So essentially, when you deal damage to a flora, you can usually take parts of the plant off of it. So it's essentially allowing you to cultivate plants a little more. So I'm going to choose it as one of my 5. That is the only heart. I am drawn to the Puffer Crawler Spores. But unfortunately, they have that symbol that I already have so much of. It says attach this. It's a card. Attach it to a ranger's equipped gear after you spend a token. After you add damage to a being with this attached gear, exhaust that being and attach this card to it instead. And then the attached being gains the Flora trait. So, interesting. I don't know. I'm drawn towards it, but it's because it is the has the highest requirement. The ones I'm not drawn toward are these two because I have the least, and I don't know if that's the right way to think. So the sifter says after I add one or more tokens to a flora, you may add one victual to this gear. Exhaust, and then you use one of the victuals, and you choose a ranger. That ranger soothes to fatigue. Unfortunately, I can't take that one, so that one goes away immediately because it has, I shouldn't even looked at it, because it has a requirement of 2 spirit, and I only have 1. Doom, 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 doom. All right, I'm going to keep that book open so I'll look for it again. And let's look at Loose Leaf Tea Kit. So I am looking for ways to get rid of fatigue. After you add one or more tokens to a floor, you may add 1 herb to this gear. And then when you exhaust it, you use up one of the herbs. Choose a ranger. That ranger gains 1 energy of any type. So that's a mechanic that's going to allow me to put more cards onto my pool here. So that's good. Because again, as a solo player, I'm going to need a way to get energy, and I'm going to need a way to get rid of fatigue. Secret Garden, it says attach this to a feature. Attach feature gains the Flora trait. So it seems like I'm able to put stuff on, and this is dealing a lot with Flora, which, let's be fair, it's called the Forager. You're foraging, you're finding things that make sense. So that's a maybe, because again, I have the green thumb, which allows me to cultivate more from a plant, which would be good for like loose leaf tea, stuff like that. I'm kind of curious. I'm drawn to this. I'm a 12-year-old boy. I'm drawn to the Carbon Forge trowel because it is a piece of gear, tool, but I see the word weapon, and I want to be able to defend myself. It has the compass iconography symbol for those types of quests. Spirit, and the triangle, it says tend. You can tend to the local plants to add or discard tokens from a flora equal to your effort. Or I can use it to strike with a fitness test. I need 2 successes, and then out with your gardening tool to add 1 damage token to a being for every 2 effort. If you fail, I suffer a damage. So I like the idea of having some type of weapon, because again, I'm going to take that, and the fact that it allows me to tend to plants falls within my category. So I've got 2 out of the 5. I know for a fact that I can choose any of these cards. The only one I couldn't was the Static Sifter. I'm gonna let me look over here. Local Fair. It's one of the last 2 alertness ones. It's a moment experience nature. Says it has a compass marker, which is not my overabundance, but I have a lot of them. It says when a ranger performs a test, they may add 1 marker to a flora to dodge each being in the same area as that flora. So I think that would allow me to not take fatigue from it. I think that's how that wording would go. Let's look at familiar ground. I actually like familiar ground. So again, it doesn't have the one that I'm overcompensating with. It doesn't have the heart one. We got the only heart out of it, but it says added a token to flora to add 3 to the trail. So if I need to get out of an area quickly, that's a quick way to make that happen. So I'm going to take that. So I'm at 3 out of 5. I've got the puff crawler spores, local fare, secret garden, loose leaf tea kit, and nature's abundance. Nature's abundance says each ranger may add a damage to a flora to soothe 1 fatigue and gain an energy of any type. And then it can't exceed the flora's threshold. I think this is a guaranteed card in my deck because I need a way to get rid of fatigue, and I'm not gonna say we're cheating. I'm not looking ahead to see what the other cards are. So it gives me an energy, and it like this would be really good for a group because I'm spending energy to do it. But it's the only one out of all these that gives me a chance to heal fatigue. So I'm gonna take that. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. I need 1 more card. I am leaning towards. Oh, jeez. I'm leaning towards local fare. I think that's good. I don't know. Secret. It's a toss up between secret garden and local fare. Puffer crawler spores seems broken. Being able to turn something after you add damage to a being with this attachment, exhaust that being and attach this card to it. The attached being becomes flora, gets the flora trait. So essentially, it's like pocket sand, where something attacks me, I can throw this, and now it has the flora trait, and I can use my other things to use to treat it like flora. It seems good. I'm gonna go ahead and move loose leaf tea kit off to the side because I don't think that's my jam. I'm gonna go with local fare. That is, I'm torn between these. I'm gonna just make a gut reaction and go local fare. So let's take a quick gander at the iconography so far. We've got. I'm going to separate these based on the symbols. So we got quite a few of the squiggles here. So that's 6 altogether. We've got 4 there and 4 there. That puts us at 6 there. That puts us at 6 there. We've got a little bit of that's between there. Yeah. So we currently now are leading with compasses, followed by the triangle, and the squiggle is no longer our lead contender for iconography in the game, or in our deck. So again, I want to keep this well balanced. I'm doing a horrible job with hearts, but again, every hearts that I see, I'm trying to take it because hearts focuses on spirit usually. And yeah, I'm putting that back on there because I think it reset for everything. All right, let's shuffle these up so that we don't get a hand of all the same symbols, and we'll move on to the next part of the prologue. And again, this is a blind prologue playthrough. I have played the game, but I haven't made this character before. I'm sure there's a million Reddit posts talking about what's the best build for a solo play, what's the wombo combo. I haven't figured that out yet. This is my first playthrough. So hopefully you guys are going to enjoy watching me fail a lot, because that's what I do. It's like my superpower. All right, my deck is put together. Let's continue. Well, let's put these cards back in the box so that we don't have a lot of extra stuff just floating around. So I became a forager. Wow. Blue is in the bathroom on a phone call. He's very kind. All right. So we added our newly chosen background cards to your Ranger deck and shuffle them together. Place your deck face down again. You pause to drink some water from your canteen. Voluminous clouds drift lazily overhead. You see Calypsa emerge from the trees and walk down the trail towards you. Let's walk together for a while, she says. I need to share some last bits of wisdom with you. It may be some time until our paths cross again out here in the wild. Before you build the rest of your deck, we'll continue playing, this time using only your Ranger's personality cards and the background cards. So I've done that, I've mixed them together. It says, before proceeding, search the valley set for the Calypsa Ranger Mentor and put her into play within reach of a Ranger of your choice. Don't read her campaign entry during this prologue. However, your goal for the next round is to clear Calypsa by placing sufficient tokens on her. And it gives the example here of using spirit plus the heart, which I'm not great at, to add tokens equal to the effort. So that would be using the base skill for that common test. I'm not great at connecting with people. So I think it has not told me to reset everything up. So I will continue in the same area that I was at. These two are still out. We discarded that. I did reset my deck. I need to find Calypsa in the deck here. We're not going to... Oh, she's not in that deck. She is a random wandering person. I remember the last time I set this up, it was... It was a bit of a difficult time to find her. Because there are... Not that it was bad, it just wasn't... on first inspection, it was difficult to understand what they were trying to tell me to do. Now I figured it out. So we're drawing 6 cards. Continuing on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And actually, I think I'm wrong. I'm going to double check myself. Because I know that I did meet the requirements to move to a new location. Sorry, I am just making sure. I am just making sure I'm doing this correctly. I don't want to get any comments saying that you are a trash player for not doing things right. Ancestors Grove. So I'm going to go ahead and move us there because I did meet the requirements for it. As soon as I find that card, Ancestors Grove. Here's Lone Tree Station. I thought I took it out. Did I not? Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't, and I am just failing at life. That is one of the negatives of this type of game, is that you have to keep track of all your cards. Alright, so there's locations. Let's see if I can find it in here. I could have sworn I took it out, though. And the fact that all of these are very different locations within the world is cool. I like it. I like that it's a large world. You got to kind of move your way through the world. I'm almost 100%, almost, but I took that out. So it's somewhere on the table. I just don't know what I did with it. Branch, because these are all ones that have cards with them, like specialty locations. And I'm not reading any of those. I'm just glancing through. So we have Ancients Grove. Jesus, come on, Brett. Shuffle it into any decks. It's not mixed in with that deck. There, not there. Not here. Oh. I did take it out. It just fell to the ground. So, upon reaching Boulder Field, it has a little blurb for each one of these, and I didn't read it for the first one, but I will read it for this one. So it has a little blurb of 14. Boulder Field. Long ago, a great mountain once stood here, but as the millenniums passed, it steadily split and crumbled. At the edges of the boulder's field, the ground is littered with round rocks the size of apples. As you head deeper in, however, the boulders grow larger until you find yourself weaving between what you imagine to be bones of lost mountains, pillars of rock that reach towards the sky. So it kind of gives you a little idea in the setting, like it sets up the mood for the area. So it says, upon arrival, lead ranger draws one challenge. So these actually go away, sorry, because we're in a new area. And I'll reshuffle them real quick. Calypso, you're with me. Cut them once. Boom. Ancestors Grove, you're no longer here. These are off to the side. Calypso, you're in our front area. And so it says, draw one challenge card and do the following based on the challenge icon on the card. We got a sun. It says Scout, 2 path cards, draw 1 card. So scouting lets me look at 1. Let me double check my version. I think that scouting just allows me to look at 2 cards and then I choose the one I want. And then the one gets either discarded or put on the bottom. That's the part I'm confused about. 23. Hey, good on you guys for giving us a thing in the back of the card. It says, when you are instructed to scout a deck, you look at the number of cards specified. Place the number of those cards on top and or on the bottom of the deck in any order you choose. Cool. So it said Scout 2. We got 1, 2. And I'm looking at these, and I see a Sunberry Bramble and another Prowling Wolfhound. Well, I really don't want to deal with this Prowling Wolfhound, so I'm going to put that on the bottom. Get out of here, you mangy mutt. And then I'm going to put the berries on top. Because I am a forager, so I want to forage the plants. And then the special ability here is reduce the presence of all beings in play by 1. And it has a 1, it has a 4 if I wanted to move on from it. All right, so let's go. Path cards. Each ranger draws 1 path card. I wonder what it's going to be. Oh, look, it's Sunberry Brambles. It's a feature, flora, and food. Then the ranger's turn. Rangers take turns until they have rested. Each ranger does one of the following. So you would keep going around, but since it's just me, I can play a card, which let me show you my card since I'm playing alone. I got a few new cards and a few old cards. So if you remember correctly, the point of this is to interact with Calypso. Because she is right in front of me, I would need to take the action specified here on common tests. And I want to do Spirit Connection. I drew no heart cards, so I'm just not very good at talking to Calypso. I'm not good at talking to anybody, really. That's something I really need to work on. Because if not, I'm going to have a hard time communicating with people in this game. And that is not something you really want to think about. So, I wonder if there's a mulligan rule. Let's see about that. Can I take a mulligan? Because if I can, that might be nice. Page 10. Because I'm really hoping for... if you don't like your starting hand, you can set aside any number of the cards from your hand and draw an equivalent number of new cards, then shuffle the set-aside cards back into your ranger deck. Hey, thanks guys. I appreciate a nice mulligan rule. So, I'm going to take all of these cards, set them aside, and draw 6 new ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm doing this in the hopes of, and I'm just going to put them on the bottom because we're only playing essentially 1 round of this. Wake up. My tablet fell asleep. Hey. So I got my 2 heart cards. Cool. Green thumbs. Alright, so I'm going to perform a test as my action. The test I'm going to perform is Spirit and Connection. She needs 3 to clear her. So I'm going to play both of these. And it's a spirit, so I'm going to play my only spirit energy. Boom. So I'm performing the action. I've got 3. She requires 3. I'm interacting with something that's already close up to me. It's not in the middle area or the far area. So let's draw the card. Uh-oh. It's red. Thankfully, oh no, it's -1 spirit. So I had a 3. I needed a 3, but then I drew a -1. So I would put, it says, add tokens to a being equal to your effort. So my effort now is 2, so I'm 1 short, and I would be putting tokens on there, but for this situation, it's only 1 round. And then we do the symbol, so we look for any cards that have that symbol. Yeah. So Calypso says if there's an active predator, exhaust it and then add, you would exhaust her and add damage to this being equal to that predator's presence. So she would get attacked by that predator. Not good. Thankfully, there's no predator, so I got rid of that wolf with my scout action that was given to me. So, I'm curious about presence. Let's take a gander at presence here, because I want to see, because the place that I'm at has -1 presence to all cards. So if that's the case, then I still succeed. So let's look at the breakdown of the card iconography. Basic concepts. The golden rule. Playing the game. Let's see. Performing a test. Let's just look at the back of it where it tells me where to cheat and look. Presence. Progress. Player. Persistent. Personality. Pivotal. Okay. Apparently that's not it. So maybe card. No? Okay. Show me the breakdown of a card. Card sets. Tokens, responses. Man, where's the word presence? Play a card, yep. We are learning as we go, my friends. Performing a test. Let's see, some test. Blah, blah, blah. You must resolve the instructions. Resolve challenge effects. Okay, so I've gone too far. Successor has a difficulty. All right. Well, I am looking for the word presence, right? Presence. Again, I'm going to double check myself because I'm sure they have the word presence somewhere. Nope. Okay. That's not a word. I think I'm wrong. Let's see. Tests, man. Show me a card and all the things on it. How much of it? Over. Getting started. Man, come on. I wish this stuff would just pop right out at me. I guess I should look at this from another viewpoint, and we're going to Google and find it and see if that helps. Earthborne Rangers. Presence. So I think, all right, I think these are the presence cards here. So I don't think that. It says whenever you perform a test, X, like traversing whatever, X refers to the presence of the card you're interacting with. So if you're interacting with the location cards, the presence of the card is the X. Cards prominence in the environment. Only on a being or feature. Ranger cards. Let's look at their online forum. Oh, it's a rule book. I already have the rule book in front of me, but maybe I can search for a particular word. Right, but that's the. Don't want to watch a video. I do like that it has an online rule book. I don't want to write anything, but I do want to search. 24. Let's look at that. 24. Sorry, it's catching up. Card anatomy. Presence is number 6. Okay. And presence is the card's prominence in the environment. This value determines the amount of fatigue it may cause and scales other effects. Oh, well, I was doing that wrong. So that's good to know. So essentially, the numbers here, if I was to ignore these problems and try and do something else, it would cause me fatigue. The difference is it doesn't affect what I'm happening here. I still failed. But the friendly does not cause fatigue. So I'm not sure why she has presence, except for whatever. Anyways, we're going to keep moving forward. Thank you. I'll try and put a little tag on this so people can skip this if they want to see me floundering. All right, so I failed the test. I put 2, I need 3. Boom, boom, boom. It's okay to fail. We knew this was going to happen. So these go in my discard. Put those there. All right, and then I rest. Let's see, does it tell me to keep moving? Does it tell me to ignore it and keep moving forward, or what? Because again, the prologue is good. It wants you to keep moving forward and not be bogged down. And then once everyone's rested, regardless of whether you cleared it or not, it goes into a verbal blurb. And that was the last time I went swimming nil neutral null holt. You and Calypsa share a laugh. She shakes the hem of your cloak between her thumb and forefinger and nods solemnly. You're now a ranger of the valley, she says. You are charged with protecting its people and lending aid to any in need. But while you do, take care to look out for each other. It's just me here, Calypso, you crazy lady. Your fellow rangers will need you, and you will need them. She steps back and smiles. It's time to return to Lone Tree Station. I must go a different route, but I'll see you there. So then she goes back in there. I don't know why I closed that. I'm a fool. She goes away. Now that you've had an opportunity to try out, not really. I didn't really do it. Find and separate the 4 specialty sets: Artificer, Consolator, Explorer, and Shaper. See, I immediately want to go towards Explorer because I feel like that is leaning towards what I'm doing. But I don't feel like that's going to be great for. I feel like I need to look at what is best for hearts. Because not doing with hearts, as you just saw. So let's look at these. I'm going to move this back over here. She goes back in the box, it says. So we have specialties: Explorer, Artificer, Consolator, and Shaper. I'm going to look at Consolator because I think something tells me that's like the conversation person. I might be wrong. We'll see in a second. We're going to put that back on that. Reduce a being's presence to 0 until the end of the turn as a guardian, and then the voice of the elders. Spend 1 energy to add 1 token to an aid card. So those are the 2 choices of your characters. You can be the voice of the elders or a guardian. Looking at the cards, there are some hearts and the greens. So it looks like there's 3 of every card. Intention Translator. I probably should take that. I think I'm gonna go with this one. I just gotta be careful that I don't take anything I can't have. Yeah. All right, we'll go with this one. So let's look at the situation. We'll choose this last. How many cards am I taking from this set? Raggy, that something fell over there. All right, each specialty contains 26 cards. Place these sets in the center. Choose a background set, choose 1 specialty set, and place it in front of you, then the next player. Now that everyone's chosen a specialty, take some time to look at the cards. You'll choose a total of 5 unique cards. So again, with the 5 cards. All right. So we've got Surveyed Land. And again, this is where I lean towards because this is my character is. We have a Tranquil Snare, and then 1 with Nature. The 1 with Nature requires 3. I have 3, so that's probably a guaranteed take for me. Let's see if we can make these cards available. We have Follow in the Footsteps, an Orland Thumper, and then I do not meet the requirements. Orland Thumper requires 2 fitness. I do have that, but I don't meet the requirements for track, so I will put that aside because I can't take it. Focus. I have Intention Translator, which gives me a heart. Safeguard, which gives me 2 hearts. That's almost a guaranteed take for me. I don't know what they do yet. I'll read them. And then the Night of Sight Sentinel requires 3 focus. I don't have 3 focus. Boom. And then this makes this pretty easy. I only can't take the Ferret, and I can't take a Dear Friend. I have no friends. I'm literally blues in the bathroom right now. All right. So let's look at these. The first one I'm drawn to is Safeguard because it is a focus. It has 2 hearts. It says response: when a ranger would suffer an injury or when damage would be added to a being, cancel that effect, suffer 1 injury. So injury is different than damage. I don't remember the main thing with it. Let's get over here for my rule book and see what the actual ruling is for injury. so that I can make an informed decision. Because, the more you know, knowing is half the battle. 23. Injury. Injuries represent a significant danger to your ranger. That rhymes. If your ranger accumulates too many injuries during a day, they'll be forced to stop for the night. In a game effect, if a game effect injures your ranger, place a harm token on your roll card and discard all the cards in your fatigue stack. Ooh, that's rough. For each injury you've suffered, you suffer 1 fatigue during the refresh phase. When you are an injury, remove 1 harm from your roll. After your ranger suffers their 3rd injury, you must end the day at the end of your current turn, and you add 1 lingering card to your deck from your collection. So, there's a couple bad things here that it sounds like it's doing. Hello, known dark Senate. I do play some role-playing games. I'm not a fan of D&D. We lean more towards like Loot Crane and Burning Wheel, Torchbearer, that type of stuff. I have quite a few friends, and I have a lot of guests on our shows. I play D&D. I mean, not that I don't like D&D. It's just not my cup of tea. There's so many better role-playing games out there than D&D, in my opinion. It's okay if you like it, just not for me. Is that the only role-playing game that you enjoy, or is there another one that you prefer to play? I know on our channel we've got a stream. We're currently we currently have a group, and like not this Saturday, tomorrow, last Saturday of the month, we're going to be doing a sessions 3 and 4 of our Burning Wheel campaign. Unfortunately, we can't stream it because of the location we're doing it. It doesn't have a easy way to stream from, but we will be putting that up on our YouTube channel of our live streams. People can follow along with the story. We're just trying to get a couple episodes built up so that we're not trying to every week a whole month for the next 2 episodes. So we want to build a couple episodes up before we post them up there. But I have done. I mean, to be fair, I have played D&D a lot in my past, starting with 3rd edition, 3.5, 4th edition. It's just, yeah. I felt like the last time I played, I felt a little confined with my character selection. I couldn't do the character the way I wanted it. But it's a fine game. It just focuses more on combat. So, now, I'm torn between Safeguard because Safeguard gives me the hearts that I need to make my deck rounded, but also taking that suffering 1 energy when you can only have 3 before it forces you to end your day, and it reduces the number of cards you can draw when this already seems like an issue. I'm hesitant to take it, so I'll put that. It's still there. I'm still thinking about it, but I'll put it off to the side. I appreciate chiming in, though. Known Darkness Senate. Let's see here. We have Intention Translator. It gives me 1 heart and a triangle for using this for tests, and then if I pay 1 focus, I can exhaust and use a charge. It has 3 charges to begin with. When a ranger performs a connect test, commit 1 effort. So essentially, I can use this instead of hearts. So that makes this a guaranteed yes for the deck, in my opinion. So I'll walk around with this weird headband on my head. So there's 1 out of 5 choices. I feel like I'm drawn towards the ones with hearts on them. This is an expensive card, but we'll see what it says. It says it gives me 1 heart, and then for 3, I can reduce the presence of each card in play to 0 until the end of the next turn. So that would be really good to just bypass a lot of the cards and not take any, like if I need to get out of there. So I'm going to take that one. Moving right along. All right. Now, we got another tech. We have ancestral teaching. Let's look at that. Again, because I don't have that much hearts, I'm drawn towards it. It's 1 cost, 1 spirit, my only spirit. Exhaust a being, then add tokens to that being equal to the number of exhausted beings within reach. So that's not a bad card if I'm getting my ass kicked, but allowing me to progress cards in a non-combat fashion seems like it's pretty powerful, but it's the part that it says add a token to that being to the number of exhausted beings within reach. So they got to be in my front row, and they got to be exhausted, which it seems situational. So I'm sitting at 2. That's a definite maybe. It does give me the hearts that I need to make my deck a little more robust. So right now I'm sitting at 4 hearts in a deck when most of my cards are at, most of the symbols are at like 7 or 8, if I remember correctly. So if I take that, that'll put me back up there again. I don't want to build the whole last bit of my deck around just getting hearts, but I kind of feel like that's what I need to do. So I will take it. I don't like it, but it is making my deck more well-rounded. It's either I take this or I take Safeguard, which I'm actually going to probably take Safeguard. Because if I'm taking a card just for the hearts, this is giving me 4 versus 2. So it's double the hearts. So now that I've got hearts in the deck, it's not a crazy amount, but it's some. I'm going to look at the rest of these cards and see what the last set of cards I'm going to take is going to be to see, what's the best. Let's set that down. All right, so we've got Orland Thumper. So Orland Thumper is a weapon. Essentially, I'm just thumping something. It has 3 uses, and it allows me to strike something. It says with a pulse of kinetic energy to add 1 damage to a being and exhaust it. If you fail, discard 1 token from that being. If you cannot, it fatigues you instead. That's not great. So it is a weapon. That's nice. Let's look at this one. So this is an attachment, the Tranquil Snare. It says reduce the attached being's presence by 1 for each snare on this attachment. So, not bad. It lets me throw a snare over something. Surveyed land, attached to a feature. Reduce the attached feature's presence by 1 for each marker on this attachment. Okay. So it would allow me to bypass features and lower their, yeah. So if I didn't want to deal with a plant or something and I wanted to do that, yeah, okay. Follow in the footsteps. This is a rough decision. I wish I had some people to bounce some ideas off of. After you succeeded a connect test, which good luck. I'm not a very connecting person. Add tokens to a feature equal to your effort. This is an addition to the test standard effect. Oh, jeez. Man, I really wish I had somebody to bounce these ideas off of. Oh, look, a wild blue appeared out of the bathroom. Glad you got your pants on. I think I'm gonna. Jeez. Again, the 12-year-old boy in me is like, let's take the thumper. Let's beat the shit out of stuff. But I'm trying not to be that person. I already got a trowel I can stab things with. I know that's not what you normally use trowels for. You garden with trowels, but I have a trowel I can stab things with if I need to. I think, in the spirit of that, I'm gonna go with surveyed land. I don't like it. I want to murder stuff, but I'm not gonna be a murder hobo. As our first time chatter, the known dark senate brought up, this is not D&D. We're not going to be murder hobos. 2, 3, 4. Oh wow! Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. I get one more. I thought I was out. So I guess I'll take the thumper if I want to. Well, with that being the case, that might change what I do. I'm going to take the thumper and ancestral teachings. That's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Haha, take that, 12-year-old boy. You get a thumper. Out of context, that sounded bad. I was speaking to the inner 12-year-old boy inside me. Does that make that better? Blue says no. It does not make that better. You know what? No. Everything that comes to mind sounds bad, so I'm just going to keep moving. All right. Let's see. Now that everyone has specialty cards in front, we did that. Add your newly chosen specialty cards to your ranger deck and shuffle them together. Then place your deck face down again. I didn't choose Shaper. Shaper is the magic user in the game. I'm curious to try it one day. Today's not that day. So it says, regardless of your current location, we're currently at Boulder's Field, your goal this round is to travel to Lone Tree Station. If you're able to travel at the end of the round, travel to Lone Tree Station to complete the prologue. So, I'm going to pick up all these cards that I didn't buy and put them back in the box. Blue, you missed it. We had a first-time chatter. Of course, they weren't chatting about, the actual game I was playing. They're asking about D&D, but, it's still nice to have a random person wander in. All right, let's shuffle these up. I'm going to keep this in front of me because we didn't go anywhere. If I remember correctly from the last time I did a prologue, I get to choose some cards from anywhere. And that will be difficult because there's a lot of cards over here. I don't have any expansions because I'm not one of those weirdos that just buys expansions before I play the base game. Looking at Blue, but he's not paying attention. Definitely wasn't a slight to him. All right, I've shuffled my deck. I'm going to cut it one time. And then, oh, I didn't choose which one of these. Man. Spend 1 energy to add 1 token to an aid card, or reduce a being's presence to 0 until the end of the turn. I think to an aid card. I think I'm gonna take the Guardian because again, I want to embrace the Guardian aspect of it. I like the Guardian a little better. Reduce a being's presence to 0 until the end of the turn. So I'm going to draw my 6 cards. I've technically already... I'll have a chat and it says, who is this mysterious blue fella you speak of? Is Blue in the room with you right now, Bear? And then he has the laughing, questioning man emoji. And that was written by a person named Cool Blue. I don't know who that blue person is. 4, 5, and 6. I got my energy. I need to figure out the proper way to leave this. But here's my cards. Ooh, double bold, persuasive. I got the Orland Thumper, Green Thumb, and Thorough. So I technically rested for my turn before Calypso left me. Refresh, ready all cards. Each ranger regains all energy, and we withdraw a ranger card. But because we rebuilt the deck, I'm just going to start from the beginning. So each ranger draws 1 path card. Oh no, it's a prowling wolfhound. It goes directly in front of me, according to the arrow. If there's another predator in play, this predator enters play exhausted. And then, let's see. All right. So the goal is to get to the station. Station is gotten by making 4 of these with 4 tokens on it. Presence of 2, presence of 1. So if I ignore them, I'm going to take damage. I'm going to take fatigue, sorry. Let's use the proper terms here. So, that being said, I should probably handle these things. Let's look at the actions I have. So, Ranger turn, I can play a card, I can perform a test, and I can rest. I feel like I want to thump this here wolf because he is not my friend. He has a chance to hurt me. So I'm going to pay the 1. There's my 1. And I'll put out the thumper. So then I would continue taking actions. The thumper has the ability to fight. So it has 3 charges on it. We're going to put some tokens on that. We're going to make those tokens damage tokens because, let's be honest, that's how thumpers work. Boom. I'm going to activate the test on it. So it's a fitness test. So I've got fitness of 2. So there's 2. And then I need a 2 to succeed. I got to draw a card. I'm going to spend a bold. So for a total of 4. Right? Right? I guess, yep, that makes sense. All right, so I'm going to spin one of the pulses, and we're going to draw. So I have 4. I need a 2. Mountain. Doesn't give me or take away anything from our test. It is a mountain symbol. There's no mountain symbol there. There is a mountain symbol here. It says, if there's an active prey, exhaust it and add a token to it and damage to this. So the prey would have, the plant eater essentially would have eaten some of the plants. But that doesn't happen. So I thump this here, Prowling Wolfhound. I deal it a damage. So I'll take the damage from that to here, and it's exhausted. So it doesn't bother me until the end of the round. This goes over here. These go on my discard. Man, we are handling business. All right, so because of the location, this is a 0, so I can interact with that without being bothered now that the wolf has been thumped. I'm going to do so. I'm going to... I only used one. Why is it? I'm going to activate my second energy. So that's 2 to do a fitness test to traverse. So 2 plus, I'm going to add 2 more, so that's 4. I need 4 successes. I don't have another one of these, of the compass iconography down here. So I'm hoping for a win. Let's see. Oh no, that's not the case. So I had, I spent this, so we'll put this over here. So I had 2, 3, 4. I needed 4. I got -1. So I now have 3 on there, and I need 4. Let's put those tokens on there. Let's start being good rangers. We got a very nice person in chat that says skill issues. I agree. I'm a bad ranger. That's why it's my first day on the job here. I bopped this wolf in the head, and I'm like, how the hell do I get out of here? Run away. All right. So I don't have any other things. Let's see what else I can do here, because I do have some other iconography. And let's see. Okay, I don't have anything else I can do that I'd want to do. I can try and connect with something. I'm not good at that. I can remember, so it lets me scout through my ranger deck and then draw a card. So let's try that. Let's put forth the effort there. Well, fudge. So we have, that's the triangle. So I'll try it. I'll scout. So I'll spend the point. These are out. This is in the discard. So I'll spend the energy. That's 2. Oh, geez. So it's another red one. And thankfully, nothing happens for that. Blue 0, so I get 2. So I'll scout 2 cards. Neither of these do anything. So with scouting, I'm allowed to put it on the bottom of the deck. I'll do so, and then I draw a card, hoping that I didn't get the card I wanted. I'm going to do it again. So I did get the reshuffle icon, so I will reshuffle these into that. I just need one more. Oh, I see that Blue has left me another remark. He says, LOL, we love you, Bear. Oh, we love you too, Blue. We as in me and this wolfhound that I just hit with a kinetic thumper. That's who really needs skill issues over there. All right, so I spent it. Oh, good. I still got 2. So I'll look at the top 2 cards. I'm scouting. Oh, there's the card I want. There's a card I need. I'll put that back on top. And then I'll draw it. Oh, look at that. I drew it. Boom. Oh, jeez. The problem is I used all my energy, so it doesn't. Actually, this was a mistake. I should have done it anyways. Anyways, well, all right. So I rest. That moves us on to the next portion. I don't have enough to travel. I'm one short. I refresh. It says ready all cards. So the wolf stands back up. Yep. And it says I regain all my energy. And I draw a ranger card. Oh, nature's abundance. Doesn't help me in the least. All right. And then when we go back to the top, I draw a path card. Oh my God, this is horrible. Caustic Mulcher. It's a being and it's also a biomeld. This is like the worst card in this whole deck. And of course, I'm trying to just hurry up and get out of here so I can finish this and this big bad shows up. It essentially is this giant creature called a biomeld that kind of just attaches itself to other creatures and becomes like a giant like coagulation of creatures together. So its job, I think it had originally had a job of like grabbing other things in nature and building it on, but now it's kind of turned into a monster. And these are the things that the Rangers would protect people from. This skin is my first day on the job. I don't want to deal with this thing. So his presence is down from 3 to 2 because of where we're at. Presence of 0, presence of 1. I am going to not even mess with that thing because it is scary. And I'm going to spin 1 fitness to do familiar ground. I'll put a damage on a flora. I have a flora here. And it lets me put 3 tokens onto the trail. And then I'll pass my turn. And I like the little picture on it. The guy literally just has a stick and he's jumping over something bad. He's like, you know what? Screw this. I'm not dealing with it. So I jump over the caustic mulcher and continue down the trail to Lone Tree Station. So that ends this round. Let's see what the book says for story-wise. And we'll go from there. When you travel to Lone Tree Station, read the following. You emerge from a line of trees and find yourself walking through a vast, rolling field in the distance. You see the towering form of Lone Tree Station rising against the clear blue sky. And on the breeze, you smell the hint of something sweet. Is someone baking? Now, I hear the word baking and I'm like, somebody getting high. But I think they mean baking some cookies. So it says, the prologue is nearly complete. Take some time to tidy up the play area, gather your deck, discard pile, fatigue stack, and hand into your ranger deck, and set it aside. Gather the path cards and return them to their sets. It's time to conclude the deck building by choosing your ranger's outside interests. Usually you choose your outside interests from the entire starting card pool, but for the prologue, we'll narrow it down a bit so it's not as intimidating. If you're playing solo, you can skip the next step and choose your outside interests from the starting card pool, or you can choose one of the suggested outside interests listed on page 33 of the rulebook. Let's do that. Let's look at the rulebook. Page 33. So it suggests your ranger's background represents the experience. Okay. So it says here, choose your outside interest. The last step of creating your ranger is to select your outside interest. The first time you create a ranger, this choice can be daunting, as nearly the entire card pool is at your disposal. If you prefer to choose from a shorter curated list, please see the suggestions below. Farron Odex, Boundary Sensor, Intention Translator, I have that one, Iron wool boots. Favorite gear. Paratrepis whistle. Familiar ground. An infusion canteen. You know, I like a good pair of boots. I think every person should have a good pair of boots. Without going into this anymore, I'm just going to grab that card and roll with it. What do you think, chat? Get at me in the chat and tell me that I'm doing a great job. Without, just the solo game. Boo to boots. Well, then, what do you think out of the list that I just listed? Because you clearly were paying attention. Which one do you think I should grab? Chad says, boo to boots. Picked boots equal no praise. And then he says I should grab the second one, which you don't really even know what the second one is. You're just saying that I shouldn't grab the one that I want to grab. You know what? I'm going to listen to you because from this point on, every time this card doesn't do well for me, I'm going to blame this guy Blue in the chat, whoever he is. Like this damn card Blue made me get. All right, Boundary Sensory it is. Let's look what this is. It's in the Explorer specialty. Explorer specialty. If I do remember, this is a good card. I thought about lying and saying that the second one was boots. But I'm not a liar. I'm honest to a fault. Let's see. Let me see if I do meet the requirements for this card. Boundary sensor. So it gives me a compass, which is nice. It has 4 charges. It is a piece of gear, tech. You can exhaust it when a ranger performs a traverse test. They commit 1 effort. So essentially, it's not a bad card. All right. Good choice, Blue. Blue never steers me wrong. He always takes me the right way. Like he's always on time for things. He always makes sure that everything's right. I trust Blue. Do I only get 1? Am I right about that? In chat, Blue says, I rolled a d20 to figure out which one to recommend. A 2 isn't an auto fail, so we take the W as we get. Well, yeah. This is a single card chosen. Yep, all right, so the 1 card. There we go. We got it. Mixing these all back into their location. Put that bad guy on the bottom. Hopefully I don't see him ever again. And then we mix this together. We have my deck. I'm a guardian. Oh yeah, don't forget the sensory card. Sensory boundary sensor that some random guy named Blue told me to take on the internet. Don't forget your boots. Nope. Take this instead. Just picture my guy walking around barefoot. Pointing at things with his toes. All right. Now that weird session's over, everybody likes feet. It says, look through the cards from your chosen background specialty sets that you did not include. Choose 2 of those cards that you think might be helpful to the group and place them in the center of the table. As someone in your group, no, that's just telling you to help with stuff. Oh, so I get to choose. I get to choose another card. So I'm gonna, because again, this would be where if you had multiple players, you would get to choose from the ones that they think are the best ones. So I'm gonna put it back to chat again. Hopefully, some random person's not rolling a d20. Because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards available now. No need to roll a d20 when you can roll a d7. All right, chat, get at me. Let's see. Twitch plays Pokemon, except for this is Twitch plays Earthbound Rangers. We just rolled random dice to see where Bear has to go. I'm going to be so happy if it's Boots. Actually, hold on. Because I have Familiar Ground, and I also have Intention Translator. So it goes from 7 to 5. So it's a D5. So I like those odds. I got a 20% chance to get the boots that I wanted. 5? You got to write it in chat for it to count. 4? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Favorite gear, artesian background. Man. Artesian background. We're going through cards. It's a spirit card. Do I meet the requirements? I think they only put the one's requirements. Therefore, you will always meet the requirements for it. It's an expensive card for me because it is a spirit-based card. It says attached to one of your equipped gear. After you use a token from the attached gear, soothe 1 fatigue. That's actually a really useful card. Man, chat, you are doing great. Good job from picking from all the cards that are the best for beginning players. So it's like no matter what you choose, you're going to choose something good. I appreciate you being so good at choosing cards that are curated for beginning players. Why'd you put exclamation roll, chat? I don't know what that means. Roll Tide? Alabama? Blue says in the chat was trying to get Nightbot to roll a dice. Oh, I think Nightbot's getting a little sassy with our viewer Blue. All right, well, let's see what we have here. Now that you played a bit, if you'd like to make different choices, yep, I'm not doing that. All right, so that's the prologue. I have now made my character, and I'm starting, and I start at mission 1. So we're going to take a short break, and we'll end this video here, grab some food, and then next time I'll have my character ready. And maybe next time we'll get started sooner than we did today. As always, keep those dice rolling, and thanks for tuning in.